All right. So guys, I always want to finish up. If we did 105,000, I truly believe as an agency, we have gone from a month of 64,000 to 142,000. That's like more than double. I remember texting Marissa that. It almost pissed me off when I heard that Dom was like blowing it up because the same exact group is the same group that blew up last year and it just kind of dimmered down. But I know it's because we have a big vision and it's just storms that we have to get through. Okay. And so what I wanted to make sure we've had guests like Sean Mike, Serge Pani, Grady Polson. I was like, guys, people that are getting logos, they're doing it for a reason. And so I've been trying to prep this one for a while. The owner of Cloud9 Financial, my dear friend, now agency owner, and always a top producer. If you guys just want to put a AA in the chat for Alicia Andrade, it's a pleasure to have you on our call.
Thanks
Thank you
so
for
much.
coming.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. And so I just want to start off as we kind of get into it to kind of set it up, Alicia, is tell us a little bit about you before FFL. I always like to know that about everybody, kind of like how you heard it, because I think we all came on in a different spot. And I sometimes see that as an opportunity to be like, dang, I could have recruited a superstar if I would have just done X, Y, and Z. Right.
Yeah.
So how did you hear about FFL and then what were you doing before? And then how?
Yeah, of course. So I wasn't in insurance for a while. So I was actually a therapist and I was a part of a private practice. I did intensive trauma and grief for small children. So it was different from what we do now for sure. But grief always like held a special place in my heart. And I always tell my clients, like today, even, death and I are friends. I have a really good relationship with death. So I love talking about it. And when we lost 75% of our income during COVID and I could not live. I was making 44 grand a year as a therapist. And you have to think like I'm on call all the time for suicide, anything. So it was a lot. And going to court for my kids and stuff. It was not my own kids, but the kids that I was a therapist of. So anyways, I wasn't making any money and my dad got sick. I'm an only child. So I thought, if push comes to shove, I'm going to be taking care of him. So I really have to figure something out. I saw a couple of my friends start dipping their toes into insurance and they were captive agents. And I had no idea what a captive agent or an independent broker, or any of that was. I literally thought it was like Chinese to me. And I'm like a really good test taker. I mean, I have my master's, like I've taken so many tests and I took it once, failed. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I passed everything. Like, this isn't like me. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it another week. Like took it again and failed it again. And I was like, okay, I was like bawling at this point because I've never anything. So I'm like, okay, I have to figure something out. Like I'm good at test taking, but like this is like Chinese. Like it's gonna take me some time, or I really, really have to pay attention to it. So I always tell my newbies to like focus on the chapter exams and then take that like comprehensive exam as many times as possible because it's gonna mirror a lot of the questions that are on the state exam. So that's what I did. And I passed. And then I got started as a captive agent, was a top recruiter, top producer, all this kind of stuff. And I made $7,000, $8,000 in 7 months. And I was like, there's no way that I'm like top of the leaderboard. And I didn't make any money. So I was like, all right, like I see some people going to this place called FFL. And I see posts and they're posting numbers. And I'm like, looks like they're doing pretty good. And then they were like, but people were like, I don't know, actually making money instead of these big numbers where you're not making anything. I mean, I was at 30%
sure.
comp, guys. Yes.
That's crazy. That's a
Yeah.
mic drop right there.
And I had no idea. Like they don't tell you when you're first coming in as a new agent what you're going to be put at when you're a captive agent. Like you can be at 10 to 15%. It really doesn't matter. They can put you wherever. So I saw some girls.
They didn't even talk to you about that, really. It was
No,
just
not
like
at
whatever they
all.
give you.
Not at all.
Yeah,
So I
did you
just
have to
had
split
like
your first commissions?
No, but like to activate my contract, like they were like, I know this is recorded, so I'm not going to say the name of the company. But they did have me write a policy on somebody out of my state just to activate my contract with them, which is so sketch. Yeah,
Yeah,
bad
it is.
company. Anyways, so then I watched people come at FFL and I saw people's deposits. I was like, I want to see the deposits. Somebody showed me 40 grand in a month and I was like, all right, I'm out. I had like no money. So I had like $500 to my name, maybe a little bit more. and I went on a travel trip. I used my friend's car, spent my $500 on leads, dialed them, and got 2 appointments, went out into the field, came home bawling because I didn't make any sales. And then the next day, I had a couple more appointments. And the first one I sat down, like I'll never forget it. This was in home. So I'm like sitting with them. They're like introducing me to all their like cats and bunnies and stuff. As I'm trying to do this application, it was a simple, and now like most of you guys should know if you're writing applications, it was an Americo app. It's so simple. It's like it was just final expense. I was all over the board though. I'm like, I have no idea. Like, what do I put for his height and weight? They're like, how tall is he? I'm like, oh yeah. I was just like freaking out. But I made $789 from that policy, and I'll never forget it. And I've never looked back. I did
Yeah.
about my first 10 days, I did 8K in commission, and I was like, all right, this works.
Yeah. And so because you said you went and you were bawling, it sounds like one of the stories Desi has where you go through a day and then it's just not going good. Did you think like, man, maybe the industry isn't for me? Like I was a top producer over there and now I'm trying it at a company that's supposedly going to pay me better. Did
Yeah,
that cross your mind?
I'm a big fan. I'm a very like I challenge myself a lot. So like if I start something, even if I absolutely hate it, I have to do it for a year. Because even if like let's say, it's just like you can have bad days, you can have bad weeks, you can have bad months, you can be in moods, it's all about like figuring it out. And I feel like once you have the power to figure it out, you can decide then like, okay, this really isn't for me, or it is. But I really think that like people don't give it enough credit. Like this
Yeah.
business is amazing, but when you have bad days, like, and you see somebody drop 12K or 5K in a day, you're like, why am I worried? I just need to call a couple more leads.
Huge, huge. And so I want to bring the convo kind of like that. What did you figure out that you had to figure out early on to realize, okay, this is what I have to do in order to do 10,000? Like, what was that? And then I want to fast forward after this because you're now banging like $20,000 months,
Yeah.
month after month after month after month. So I want to know what you're doing today, more towards the end of the call. But right now, I just like kind of explore that a little bit. What did you figure out? Like, what was the difference between writing? My question, honestly, my first one was kind of like this one. It was, what do you feel like agents are doing that
Mhm.
is not letting them do over 10,000? And you were probably in that same spot at 1.2.
Yeah.
What did you figure out? Like, what did you have to overcome?
So, so my biggest thing when I first got started was I never wanted to be without lead money, because that's where I see people trail off, right? I always heard about people like, oh, you have to buy your own leads. And the people that complained about that were the ones that made money and then spent it all and then never reinvested in leads. So I'm like, oh shit, like, excuse my language, I'm not being recorded, but I'm like, oh shoot. So you spent $1,000 on leads. What did you make? Oh, I made 5 sales. Like I made 5K or 6K. I'm like, that's awesome. Like what kind of leads are you going to buy next? Oh man, I had to pay my bills. Like I'm out of money. And I'm like, bro, I just saw you go to Miami. Like, let's be real. So, what I did was when
That's
like,
huge.
it's like a really big mindset thing. So when I made 8K, I just put $1,000 to the side, and I'm being 100% with you guys. All of the money that I make into this business, I pay my bills, I do fun stuff, but I pour majority of my money back into the business. And it's really important the first couple years so that you can get fruition. You have to put the seeds in for them to grow. If you're like, oh, I'm going to put a seed in here or there, and I'm just going to like keep mowing all over it, like those seeds aren't going to go anywhere. You have to build. So when I got started, like I said, I made 8K, put $1,000 to the side for leads, and then reinvested that. And then once I think I made like another 5K or 6K that month. And then I put that $1,000 to the side. So I always have lead money. Like after your first lead spend, you should not have like a quote unquote lead spend again. It should just be continuous, if that makes sense.
No,
That
that
was like,
makes perfect sense.
that was the biggest thing.
No, and it's huge because I think a lot of times we get into that spot of like, oh, I'm waiting to get paid because I don't have money from that. But it's because you didn't think about it. You didn't plan it. You didn't always have the money. And Tyler said that too. Is like you're playing with house money. We've always heard
Right.
that. After your first sale, you're now playing with the house money. And I love how even though we're an advanced business, like some of it could charge back, you're
Mhm.
putting it all back into the business. And I noticed when I started doing that, I was like, man, and I'm different than Alicia, guys. I don't do no 30,000 months back to back to back to back, but I did pour a lot. I mean, Megan would say all of our money. She's like, I ain't having that much fun. I'm like, all of our money back into the business. And then when you go to need resources, and what we mean by putting it back in the business, I mean, obviously we have an office, but we have things like leads is probably the number one.
Yeah.
Guys, when you have
Leads,
leads, you literally have
advertisement.
work.
It's a lot of money,
Yeah,
but
go for
it's
it. Say it one more time.
yeah, it's a lot. Like it seems like a lot of money. Like my biggest bill business wise is leads and then advertisement. So I'm advertised in let me see if I can grab one for you guys. I'm advertised in a Sun City magazine. Do you guys have Sun City out there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And
So Sun
what did it
City,
cost you to get featured with them?
I pay $800 a month. I get 2 articles, 3 articles a year, and then like a business profile. So they make it all on, like I'm featured in their expert contributor list as their expert. I don't know where I am. Oh, there I am. Life insurance, expert life insurance broker. And then they have to like advertise in the magazine. So I pay $100 a month. And Sun City is a retirement community. So you have to be 65 and plus to go up. We're adding the logo and changing the ad this week, which is exciting. But those are my biggest bills. And I pay about anywhere between 600 to 1,000 a week on leads. I run aged
Yeah.
mortgage, but they're a little bit different than final expense.
Right. And honestly, I think you have a really good crowd tonight because all of us, I think, actually maybe like 95 to 80% of us are running aged mortgage protection leads now.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so we'll make the transition to what you're doing currently probably really nice.
Yeah.
And so that's really awesome. And I think that that's super on point. Like we were saying, pouring back into the business, sometimes you don't even get the ROI, but it's literally like, I don't know, it's like creating a safety net of like, I'm fine. I'm in the business because I have work all the time. I literally go and work it. I get paid again and then have money to keep me more work. And it's something that I think we all definitely have to figure out when we don't come from like I mean, most of us came from a job. Like things were already set up.
Right.
Now, Alicia, before you're now, are you at full virtual or what does that look like for you? Are you in
No,
person?
yeah, so I actually went back to doing majority in home, which just running these aged mortgage, I'm having a lot of fun. But my average AP is on the system, what I can see is about 1,900. So the aged mortgage seem to have higher annual premiums, which I like. I also like that they haven't been contacted in a while because then it makes it seem like somebody else dropped the ball and I'm picking it up for them. So I'm down for that. I'm down to blame everyone. I'm like, who helped you? Who went through the information before? And they're like, I don't even know. I'm like, I'm going to have to write them up. It's been years. This is a problem. So we're heavily out of compliance. Let me and that's how I run. I'm serious. Like I make it an issue.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's amazing.
yeah.
I think after this, we're gonna get your script and pass it to everybody.
Mhm.
So you're working aged mortgage protection leads and then going in person,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Abel, do you hear that? That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Those are the
perfect.
best. So when I sit down, I do run them with mailers and you guys can, I can send you the link to where I get my leads if you, put my name or Cloud9 now, which is fun, in there, then they'll send you a couple leads for free. So they're aged mortgage with the mailer. So I do local. Yeah. So like I come into the home and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Desiree, it's been years. This is like a major issue. Nobody ever got you this information. And most of the time they're like, I don't even remember what information it is. I'm like, you actually hold on, let me pull up the form and show you why we're connected. I show that to them and I say, so it looks like it was October 2020. Is that right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. We'll just go ahead and go through the information. My job is just to go ahead and get you the updated information on the updated loan amount. I'll let them know I took care of you. We'll get it permanently closed out with compliance. And then I start running through the appointment.
Yeah, no, that's fire. Super fire. So are you calling them or are you just showing up?
So I do have
Sound
a
like an
dialer, but I was dialing them for
got
a
it.
while myself. But yeah, the dialer is definitely helpful. It just lets
So when
me
you
have
show
more
up,
time with my team.
no, that makes
Yeah. Oh,
perfect
when I
sense. That makes perfect sense.
it's the best. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't be a better setup, to be honest. And
Right.
I mean, I liked the aged ones because then they haven't been
Hmm.
bothered about this in a while. They already have it. It's been over 2 years. I just sat with a gentleman who he's had his policy for a year, which is fine, right? But I'm like, it's
Yeah.
past 14 months. The person did sign them up with AIG. So I'm like, it's probably an FFLer, but I don't like ever try to double up on commission or like mess anybody's policy
Right.
up. So like past 14 months,
Right.
we're cool. This guy's a guaranteed issue product when he got level. So I'm like, if you can do something like that, like I don't mind going like they got the policy a year and a half ago and it's guaranteed issue and I got him level immediate coverage. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Saving him money,
No, for
more
sure.
coverage.
Now, Haley has a really good question. Say you didn't have your dialer. What were you doing when you didn't have the dialer? You just dialing them yourself?
Yep. So I did a typical. So I mean I still do it kind of that way, but Monday, Thursday are my dial days, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or excuse me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I do love running Sundays if I can like push all of my like Friday appointments to Sunday or like have like sprinkle through and then have a jam-packed Sunday. Sundays are amazing. People are so nice and they haven't like they've either spent money or they're not like worried. Middle of the week when people have money to spend or like things bills coming up, their last thing they want to think about is adding another bill. Weekend, people just went out to dinner, they come back, their bellies are full, and you're like, hey, I've had like 10 different families feed me on a Sunday. It's fun. I don't know. I like
Yeah.
it.
No, that's awesome. And I can definitely see how, honestly, the mortgage protection, I know that's what most of us are doing, but in person,
Mhm.
I've been doing in home as well. As much as I like am very virtual, I've been buying local leads. So as much as if I can get an excuse to go to their home, I love it. And I can always kind of look for more referrals. But guys, they literally all have a home. You're not going to like a random apartment, and the house is, even if it's like 4 years old, people live at their homes for quite a while, and it's a really good one. Some of us that have had like door knocking experience, this is going to be cake for you, like actually. And I'm saying that because I know the talent that comes from someone that did door to doors. I used to do door to doors, actually. Alicia, it was like you have to get good at like random people all the time, and then when you have a lead, it's game over. And so, and the cost on those leads, what's the cost on the lead?
Yeah, I think we pay $6 a lead, and I pay my dialer 400 a week, but she works 40 hours a week. So she's full time. I have a full-time dialer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's money. And that's
They're
a great
harder,
price
they're
because
harder they're harder to get a hold of and they're harder to book. So I don't get as many, I don't get, it's not like I get 15 every 2 days, like final expense, but I also don't get as many no-shows. Everybody has a house, everybody has a phone, like everyone has a bank
Mhm.
account.
So two things I want to get into, and we're going to stay with production. Your persistency is what I'm going to talk about, and then
Okay.
your warm market recruiting is actually really savage. How you guys use, like how you're in the Facebook, you've gotten it down. Like you know how to network with people to get them, even getting a hotel. I need to call you.
Yeah.
Remember? But so let's go into the persistency. After you've gotten a sale, my wife's like, I want to do everything that Alicia's doing because I know her persistency is really good. And real quick, guys, I want to tell you this. Let's say I'm at 100% contract, right? But my persistency is at a 60, 70%. I'm basically able to get a raise without getting a raise at like 20, 15% if I just increase my persistency. And so that's why this is actually super important when I realized that, because after I then started to think about, am I going to take this guy? Is he going to actually stick with me? And I have my way of doing it, but Alicia does far more and beyond. And that's why her persistency is so good. And so I wanted to ask you, so how are you keeping such a high persistency?
Mhm.
Lay the table and I'll ask you some more questions.
100%. So when I am doing the policy with them and going through the application, I'm drawing out emotion immediately. So I'm keeping a level tonality. Then I think I learned this from being a therapist, but I can pull out emotion with using a level tonality. And I think it's really good in sales as well. So when I'm talking to them and I'm like, hey, Diego, so, let's say that you did pass away yesterday, who would be picking up the pieces of your life today? Just in a flat tonality, but it pulls out emotion and makes the client think. So I do that a lot in multiple like different ways. That one's kind of my favorite. I don't know. I like the way that sounds like someone's picking up the pieces of my life. Oh my gosh,
And,
So I
and then you
like
slow down while you do it.
yeah. So it's all about tonality,
And then
right?
you,
And when I'm talking about mortgage protection, So Diego, the whole point of this program, right, is
And I
so
want
that,
to emphasize you really quick, Alicia, and I want you to keep going. Guys, when she's in the home, one thing I know about her, she comes in looking like a boss. Like she's like well dressed. She comes in looking like a professional. Like you think she's like maybe even a lawyer, like something to do with the bank. So when she then lays down what she's telling us, it comes off real serious. And so I just want to add that because I know when I see her going out to work, it's like one of those boss lady vibes. You know what I'm saying? And I encourage everyone, like as a guy, I remember when I was doing mortgage protection, when I switched from final expense to mortgage protection, I realized that was an effect that was going to gain you like 15, 20, 30, 40. Depends on how bad you look before. You know what I mean? But like it'll make you a better producer for sure. And that's something that she carries. She won't even say it. It's just who she is. And so now then when she delivers that, so don't just go try what she's doing like tomorrow like that. You get yourself ready and then you're going to deliver this and it will hit because now you're doing everything that she's doing. So keep going.
right.
My bad.
You're good. So when I'm sitting down with them and talking about mortgage protection, how I draw out that emotion is like, because sometimes you're gonna sit with people that are like, "What is this? I'm over it, and I don't even want to have this conversation," right? So I'm like, and I'm very Italian, so I use my hands and everything, but I'm like, "All right, Diego, the whole point of this program is so your family doesn't have to go from the funeral home to the real estate office. Is that something you want?"
Yeah.
I've never had somebody say no.
Never.
Never. I've never had somebody say no to that line. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I have a 90% close ratio with these in home. So it's like really strong. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys another way that I have my persistency. So I bring the emotion out a lot. And then I do when they're approved, I'm like, all right, Diego, congratulations, you're approved. Amazing. Go ahead and give me your phone. I'm going to save my name in here. When you pass away, your beneficiaries also have to make sure that they have my information. It's going to be hard enough on them already. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit easier. I'll help them with the claims process. I grab their phone and literally put my phone number in, and I'm like, I'm going to save you in here too. I'm your lady for life. You're stuck with me. And they always laugh or they say something sweet. And then I'm like, okay, so then I need at least, I have your beneficiaries here, 2 to 5 emergency contacts. There's like billions of dollars a year that goes unclaimed with life insurance. I'm not going to let that be your family. I'm not going to let you pay into something and not get that money back. So I want to make sure that they have my information too. Is that okay if I reach out to them? Everyone always says yes. Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to send you an email. It's going to give you a breakdown of everything we went over today. It's going to bring it out in layman's terms, just like the main points. I'm going to attach a copy of your application, a copy of my license in that email, so it's all in one place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And I say that, I mean, like that's like verbatim, so you guys can totally hear it in my voice, I'm sure. Now, this specific client, I'm showing you this one because it was great. I sat down with the family. He was such an asshole to my dialer. He was mean to me when I walked in. I started playing with their cat, and he was like, "Oh, the cat likes her." And then they ended up getting a policy, and he even told me on his way out, I was dead set on not getting a policy before you came over. And I'm really glad that you at least explained the details. So this is what I say to everybody. Like I just change it up in
Yeah.
here. So hi Thomas, it was nice to be able to help you this morning. Meet Michelle and your sweet kitty. Again, I want to send a breakdown of the policy information and congratulations to you for getting an automatic approval with their A+ rated carrier America. I literally just change out whatever carrier it is. I have attached a copy of
Yeah.
your application as well as a copy of my state license. You have all that information in one place. If you need to make any changes or have any questions, please give me a call so I can help you with that. You guys take care and talk to you soon. So then I put all of the benefits in there, policy number, amounts, 12 month of mortgage protection. So you see how I put that policy amount, you guys? That's how you structure mortgage protection best. They have $1,000 mortgage. So I didn't say your death benefit is 12,000. I said what we're looking at is 12 months of protection. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I have all that, and I have a
No, this
copy
is
of their
fire.
application, a copy of my license, and he emailed me back. Thanks for your help. We enjoyed meeting you. Take care. And that was the
So
guy that
professional.
literally on my way out, he's like, I was dead set on not getting a policy.
That is fire. No, that
Yeah.
is really good. I love the follow up, and I can tell why after people know what they're getting, it's just like a double confirmation. I've thought about doing that. That is an awesome template. I'm
Yeah,
definitely
I
going to copy
think
that for sure.
the hard thing is when we sit with somebody and we have so many carriers and they get declined one area, so we go to the other one and they're asking, what carrier is this? Oh, it's Americo. And then they get declined, so we're pushing to another, and then they end up with Prosperity, and they see Prosperity come out of their bank account. They're like, what the hell is this?
Right.
They call their bank, they're
Right.
like, "Stop that." And then we try to get a hold of them and they're like, that person never got me insurance. Why would I?
Right.
It's a really stupid mistake that a lot of new producers make when you're a broker. Because it's not like we're sitting down, we just work with Americo, so they know they're getting Americo. But when they see something
Right.
else come out of their bank account, it raises a red flag. So I always
Correct.
carrier and everything in there. So it's like it's loud, you know?
No, that's a quality template for sure. And I'm wouldn't be surprised, guys, if we got something like that coming out to our Discord soon. And so, Alicia, then after that, do you follow up with them like a month later after they made their first payment, anything like that? Or is that just basically like that's a good setup?
Not yeah, not really. I mean, I have some people that'll give me a call. I mean, they're all pretty local, like they're in my area. I'm running local. So I mean, I stop by some of my clients' houses. Like I have one lady, she has diabetes, but she has one Pepsi a week. So sometimes I go have a Pepsi with her. Like I love my clients. And I treat them
Yeah.
like I'm going to hang out with an old man tomorrow morning to have coffee before my appointments. He's getting another policy. And so I'm like, for sure. Yeah. He's like,
And
come over, have some
being
coffee. Okay.
in person, what would you say? Because I think I asked this to Tyler like 6 months ago. What was the amount of referrals that you're getting from being in home? And it was a pretty high number. Do you find a similar thing? Like, what do you find your referral rate going in the home with the mortgage protection?
Yeah. So I
Because you're
feel like,
now getting a community.
yeah, I feel like telesales is harder. Especially like because they just want to give you the beneficiary and be done. Like they think it's very transactional. So they're like, hands off, don't talk to me unless you take money out of my account type of thing, you know?
Mm,
So I think in home's a lot different. So like I was sitting in a home and I had a final expense appointment. I sometimes trickle in some final expense if I have some diamond leads in my area. So I was sitting down with
yeah.
her. I was like, hey, you were looking at some final expense. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, are you married or single? And she was like, I'm married. I was like, oh, is your husband here? She was like, yeah. Like, did he not want any insurance? She's like, no. I'm like, well, it's just best if he's in here. He's like, honey, I'm on kidney dialysis. I'm like, how long have you been on dialysis? He's like, years. I'm like, you're not going anywhere. We're getting you insurance too. So it ended up being a twofer.
Yeah.
That was a $2,800 home. So it's
Yeah.
definitely worth it when you're in person and you can pull people. Like what I do all the time too, if the beneficiary is at home, this is my favorite. I'm like, so it'd be like
Yeah.
a mom and a daughter, right? Mom's getting insurance, final expense, she's 80, she's trying to get 5K for like $100 a month. I'm like, you poor lady, right? And her daughter sitting next to her little 50-year-old. And I'm like, do
Yeah.
you have anything on yourself? No, do you want to pay $100 at 80 or you want to pay $30 now? No, let me just do it now. Perfect. Yeah, let's not wait. So those are my favorites,
That's a
but
good
I
one.
mean, it's so, and that's like, you don't have anything like this on yourself. Yeah, I have something through work and you don't own personally anything. If you like leave the job, you're not going to take it. Oh, I guess not. No.
Yeah.
Okay. When I finish up with mom, we'll just look at some options for you and then automatically.
Yeah. No, that's so gold. And you're in Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
That's
and
right.
the reason I bring that up is because I would say maybe half of our FFL agencies in Arizona. And so she's competing in a market. There's a lot of other agents. And it's just because she's going out there and
All of,
doing the work. It's not a
all
problem.
of that list is out here.
Yeah, I know. So I was like, being in home, I would almost think you're doing the opposite and going virtual. But I love hearing that because it actually is just the truth. It's the, when you find something that works, work it. And there's a lot of room because if there's room in Arizona, there's room in here where we're at. And there's some places where like people are at, maybe in other people are in Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. There's not that many agents out there, even though there are
Mhm.
not that many compared to maybe where Alicia's at. So everything 100% works, and I'm really pumped about that. Now, I want to move it on. Now, maybe, I mean, I want to read what Tyler says. I have a
Yeah,
lot of
so
new agents
I
doing.
was gonna respond to
Yeah,
Desiree's really quick. So there's definitely two ways to get new agents paid fast and started quickly. So I think number one, while contracting's coming in, doing all of the boot camps right away has been super helpful. So while they're not able to even write contracts, boot camps, like all of the SRS boot camps, IULs, annuities, that's happening in the very beginning because it's still fresh from their vein from the test. So like when I like got into this side of the business, I barely knew anything about annuities because it was fresh again. Like you just took the exam, like plug in, do those now. And then once you have some contracts, I would say like you honestly need like Americo and one other carrier. I've been having my agents, I'm trying to see. I've been having my agents post on their Facebook. Older people are typically the ones that are on Facebook. So that's where you're going to want to focus your attention if we're doing insurance. So hold on one second. I'm trying to pull this up for you guys, just so that you guys can see a good example. And then new agents, if you guys want to use this, go for it. If I can find it though. I'm hopefully going to be
So
dropping a big infinite banking policy soon.
not for more like a Facebook lead.
No, this was actually just warm market. I
Nice.
ran in, I mean, I literally bumped into some people at happy hour and then they offered their seats and then I told them what I did. So
Did I help y'all?
it's
Make more
not that
money
hard to
tax
get
free.
out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I think all new agents should be doing when they first get started is posting this, like their license with some kind of like little excerpt.
Love
Now,
that.
she posted a couple different things and got some good traction. She got 4 more market leads out of this and has been posting like her link and other things. So once you start getting active, like once you start getting contracts, staying active on social media, posting things, reposting things, you can remix posts now, which I just learned because I'm an old lady. So like you don't, it doesn't even really have to be you. You could literally just sit there and be like, yup, uh-huh, this guy. Like it
I
doesn't
know.
matter. So it's so easy to use content right now from other people that are doing exactly or saying what you want to say. You're like, I love the way that guy says that. Don't write a script for yourself. Just post that and just post yourself on top of it. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
feel like there's easy ways. And then like you don't have a lot of money when you get started. If you have a lot of money and you're just getting started, you're a bullshitter, excuse my language. But like you're not, or else you wouldn't be doing this. So you either have time or you have money. When you first get started, you don't have money. So stop acting like it. You've got a lot of time. So work. Like it should be like simple, but like the reason why I did so well out the gate is because I worked from 8 to 8 every day. I stopped listening to music. I only listened to podcasts. I stopped watching TV. I only watched YouTube video trainings. My first 90 days, that's what I did. And that's how I got to a level where I could produce at 20, 30K a month. But you
Right.
have to put in
No,
the time because right now you don't got the money. So, but when you learn, like right now, you're prolonging, like by not just getting to work, you're prolonging the progress. And so you're making your progress look like this instead of what it could be, you know? It's like shorten your learning curve by doing what you can as much as possible in the first 90 days. It'll help so much.
no,
Fail
that's
fast.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, and that's huge because I think Andrew Taylor says that. He's like, you have money or you have time. And even if you have money, then that just means you're going to buy better leads to then get your money.
exactly. Exactly.
If you don't, then you're going to work, crappier leads and then dial even more because you have more time to do it. No, that's super good. Now, I want to circle back. I think Tyler had a question. We have a lot of new agents doing age virtual. If you're not using a dollar and you're new, what can they do to get to 15K in IP? Like, are there a certain number of dials, a number of age leads that they should buy, or any tips for mortgage or for virtual mortgage in general?
Yeah, so 150 to 200 leads should be minimum for aged mortgage. Like they're super cheap. It's affordable. Like when I first got started, I was only running, they used to be like they were brand new, but now they're diamond leads and they're $11 a lead. So I would spend 1,100 every 2 weeks when I first got started. So to get like, you can get a lot of leads for 1,100 for aged mortgage. So I would say that. get comfortable on the phone. Like if you're trying to do virtual and do 15K a month with aged mortgage, the annual premium is going to be solid, but getting a hold of them is going to be hard. You're going to run through leads that have died. You're going to run through leads that have sold their house. You're going to run through everything. So you have to have a lot of leads and be patient and stay on the phones. But I would just say $1,000 or 1,000 dials a day. Like just make that your minimum expectation for yourself. If I don't hit $1,000, I need to hit 1,000 dials. And then once you've dialed through all your leads, I say 21 times, 7 times, 3 over, like triple dial 7 times. Then I shoot them a text with their form. So I'll literally screenshot their mortgage form that they filled out and say, or I've like have a little script for that. Or sometimes I'll just say, whose good handwriting is this? And if they don't get it, if I can't get hold of them for a while, sometimes they laugh at that. But I mean, I have my ways to try and let them know, like when I sit down with them, I let them know too, I'm just an underwriter. I'm not a salesperson. Doesn't matter if you spend $5 a month or 500. What matters to me is you have coverage. So and that's like, it brings down a barrier
Yeah.
with them too. Not that that has to do with leads, but it does help.
No, that's great. And what vendor are you using for your leads?
Yeah, it's called HighNet. So I'll send you guys the link.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, it's awesome. They're really at a good cost too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I would
then
say it's
um
hard to find like good mailers, so it's nice to have them.
right. We've been working on a lot of ARIAs, and then I know some of us just go to the ILC, so it's definitely
Mhm. Yeah, and
always nice. And
I run all of those, but I think I run
yeah,
majority of these, but Aria and the ILC are also really good.
yeah. No, it's awesome. That's super good. This has been value packed, Alicia. I feel like you had it all prepped. You didn't even know the questions I had. And now for recruiting people, more so, I felt like what I learned from you, and we've been able to talk, is how you slide into the DMs to recruit people, and you find them like in different areas, and you're really clever about the groups that you get into. And then, can you tell us about like your marketing strategy to like getting recruits at a warm, in kind of like warm market in a sense too?
Yeah, so I really like, I mean, there's so many life insurance agents groups. There's like boss babes groups. There's just like there's so many different Facebook groups that you could just go add yourselves to. I'm in a bunch of pilot groups. I'm in some elderly community groups. So what that allows me to do is they'll have like a small business Saturday, and then you can advertise your business on there. I'll put hiring posts on the smaller ones for girls, and then like I'll do like some larger ones for clients. But I really like to focus on people that just got licensed because they haven't been dredged by anything else in the insurance industry yet. So I'm like, good. If I would have got started just with FFL, I would have been 10 miles faster. Like it's great. So yeah, I just messaged them. I'm like, hey, I saw you were looking at, or congratulations on getting licensed. Have you decided on being a captive agent or a broker? And then I'm like, they're like, oh, I'm not sure yet. I'm like, perfect. Do you mind if I jump on a call and share my experience with you? And they're like, sure.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
And
hey,
now,
it was terrible. You should come work with me. And they're like, okay, no, I'm just kidding. It's not that easy, but it's like
I mean,
a conversation.
when I've seen you do, you really just hit them up to have a conversation, and then
Yeah.
eventually they're going to tell you how they feel and where they're at, and then you tell them how you feel about your company, and then if you feel better than them, then maybe it makes sense they try what you have going on.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I try to make
Now
it
I
just
had
really simple and very like cohesive,
yeah
like doing this together. Do you want to be a partner in this? Or like there are other opportunities and I'm happy to show you, but I help people become independent brokers and start their own businesses. If you'd like to do that, I'd love to help you.
right. And now I had an agent tell me today, they were like, you know what, I want to get started into marketing, and I have some people that are probably looking at this, but I like want to know, like, I don't know, maybe I get in my head too much. And and for me, that's maybe sometimes you need a little bit of guidance. So that way you're just not in your head. You're like, I just need to do this. Did you
Mhm.
ever feel like that when you were like in that side? Cause I feel like recruiting is not like a paved path of like, do this and that.
No,
And then how did you overcome it?
yeah, there definitely is. I just saw the potential of what it was like to build a business and how much money you could make with an entire agency instead of just you. Um, And so I just started recruiting off the gate. I'm like, called other people at that other company, like, hey, you got to see this, showed them deposits. But I'm just real with people too. Like, I'm like, yeah, there are hard days. And I'm not saying you're going to make a sale in your first 24 hours. Like, if you're not going to put the work in, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to lay the exact path out for you, like yellow brick road it. and if you don't follow it, you're not going to get to the end. And the majority of people don't. Like, that's business, right? Like, people realize
Mhm.
what it's like to work in your home by yourself, or like have to keep yourself accountable, and people have a hard time doing that. So
Sure.
once they get over that hump, right, of the mindset switch of becoming an employee versus an employer, that's where I
Mhm.
think that's where your business starts to really develop. So I think if you can recruit right off the bat, like, just be like, hey, I'm making money, or want to make money together, want to have a side hustle with your friend, want to run appointments on the weekends. Hey, why don't we call on Saturday and then book appointments on Sunday and see how this goes for us? Like, you don't have to dip your toes. You don't have to go all in. You can dip your toes, but I think you're going to get more out of it if you do go all in. So by doing
Yeah.
that with somebody else, it can be really helpful. But if not, then just reach out to people that are also in the same boat. Hey, bro, I'm just getting started too, but I know people that are making a lot of money over here, and I'd love to be able to have a run buddy. Like, what's going on?
Mhm.
Hey, you're in my area. Hey, you're not in my area. It'd be so cool to be able to run some travel trips with you across the country. I don't know. You can say anything. Just like be
That's
personable.
great.
Yeah.
Right. No, and I love that because you're making them their friend, and you're like, it's just like when you're not recruiting, you're just getting friends. It's like when you were working. It reminds me of when I was at Starbucks and I want someone to work at Starbucks with me. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, dude, oh, you're at that one,
Yeah. You
or you're at a
remember, like,
different thing.
yeah, in high school, you like work at a pizza shop and you're like, bro, come work with me. And it's like all your friends work at the
Yeah,
pizza shop.
right. And then
Right.
everyone's
And
there getting
like,
free pizza.
that's, I mean, that's the reality. Like, that's what Sean did. Sean just built this
Yep.
business of all, like, overgrown frat guys. And they're like, let's go tear
Hmm.
up this industry together. And they're
Exactly.
now they're integrity partners, and you know what I mean? They're writing our bonus checks. I'm like, bro, I'm
Huge.
gonna be where you are.
It's true. And guys, Alicia has been here for a bit to see and observe, just like how I have, what Sean does. And it's something that I know that we both do. I'm like, we're very intentional with every conversation that you have. And I encourage all of you guys to do that. Like, Alicia's basically, when she reaches out to someone and wonders like what kind of, I don't know, like plane they've been into or whatever, and they're like relating on that, she might be wondering to go visit them and then see like what is it that you do outside of flying planes. It's
Yeah.
always intentional from one direction to other. I'll give you this example too, and
Yeah.
hold on to your thought. But I remember when we were at an integrity meeting, she was talking to like 7 people, and I was like I'm gonna tag on with Alicia because I'm getting answers just being next to her. And so that's something that she carries just in general when she's in a zone. She wouldn't do that in an office. She's in an office, she don't know anybody, so I got to meet them. Because but not only just to meet them, I was like, dang, Alicia, I feel like you're getting to know them. Got to talk to her, and she's like, well, it's because I'm trying to figure out what they know so that I can get to know like their people, and then hopefully it helps me in the long run, you know. uh what were you gonna say? I feel like you were adding something.
So yeah, so like, so this, I'm trying to do this. Hopefully it goes through. You guys have to say a prayer for me. But it's a $3 million infinite banking policy. So we're looking at putting 3 million in for him to be able to become his own bank. So like I said, that happened. I was at happy hour, like bumped into the guy, right? So he bumped into me, and he had mentioned something about the drink that I got. And I said, oh yeah, my family's in the wine industry. He said, I just bought a winery. He goes, where's your family from? I'm like, oh, Northern California. We start talking. And then I said, what do you do? And he said, well, I mean, other than the winery, I'm a venture capitalist. I was bought out by a company in Silicon Valley. I'm like, awesome. I am actually in the finance industry. And he goes, oh my gosh, I was about to get this lifetime income policy. You should take a look at it for me. Took a look at it, gone on a call with him. I've been on 3 calls with him now trying to structure this. And we have a call next week to solidify some things with his financial planner. So it's like, just by being intentional with conversation, even if I bump into somebody, what that can get you, you guys, that's like almost 160,000 in commission.
Yeah,
Like, that's
it's
life changing.
crazy. We're
So
praying
it's like,
for you.
just thank you. But like, even the little things, like getting out of your comfort zone, going to a different spot, grabbing a coffee at a different spot. Like, there's so many different networking opportunities that are out there. And I feel like just
Hmm.
getting uncomfortable, right? Like, Sean Mike still opportunity, he gives the opportunity to everybody that he meets. A bellhop, a valet, waiters, anybody. Like, you have the power to do the
Right.
exact same thing and get those people on your team. You don't have to drive the flashy car. You can say, I work with this guy. And knowing Sean will be
It's
like,
true.
oh, I fucking love Diego. Like, Sean's a very humble person if you want to talk to recruits. But the reason why is because he has that aura, he has that confidence. He could be in a t-shirt and shorts. You guys have seen
Mhm.
him and he still owns the room. Like that has to be you for you to be able to get people that want to follow you. So if you don't feel like you're that
Mhm.
person right now, you have to ask yourself, do a self audit and see what steps you need to
Good.
take, what you need to eliminate or add to your life to become that person that people want to follow.
That was fire. Almost
Thank you.
gotta just let it finish on that, but it's super good. And talk to us about how you've now I mean, on that, you've learned a lot from Sean. You
Mhm.
also have seen it. You go, Sean, help me recruit this person,
Mhm.
and explain that a little bit, leveraging the system basically.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Tobey and I mean, there's like people that we've tried, like we've recruited. I mean, we've recruited people and Sean's literally been like, okay, cool. Like get me on the phone with them. I'll fly him out to Florida and I'll sit down with them and like put him up in a
Mm-hmm.
hotel. Like he's literally down. People that want to join the business, people that are worth joining the business, if they believe in themselves, even a little bit. Like I'm not even saying they have to be full blown, like, yes, I believe in myself. If they're like, I believe I could do it, Sean Mike's gonna be like, bet your fucking ass you should do it. Like he's a very excited person. And so for recruiting resources, having the CEO in your back pocket, like that's one of the things that I say. People are like, oh, what are your systems like? Oh, what's the training like? I'm like, it's a plug and play system. We have a lot of training. We'll do a one-on-one strategy call. We'll get you rolling. We'll get you on dials. And we have a direct connection to the CEO at all times. People love that. And we do. Like, I'm not lying.
Seriously.
I could call Sean right now and be like, I mean, he's awesome, and we have
Yeah.
Marissa. So it's like the connections that we have in this business, even though everyone has connections to him. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they help you spearhead your business. Just take advantage of it. Like you have so
No,
many resources.
big time. We're
Mhm.
getting to the end of it. I'm gonna have two things. I'm gonna open up for anyone that has a question, and if there's no question, I want to have you just give us maybe one action thing that we can do that could make us a more persistent, because I think that like consistent, I mean, consistent, something that we can take on and consistently do moving forward, right? And I think if one of us gets it, then maybe that's who it needs to be, for. But real quick, did you guys have any questions for Alicia before we get off that you wanted to ask her specifically? You can always reach out to her. But while on the call, obviously we'll all get the value. And if not,
Yeah, I have a
Alicia,
question.
last thing,
Mhm.
perfect.
Um, what podcast slash videos were you watching? Because you said that you were watching those and listening to those, like your
Yeah.
90-day rule. What was that?
So I watched a lot of I mean like the trainings, I literally was just watching everything. Like I just was going on YouTube and searching FFL, and then if I found somebody, like, this sounds really bad and I hope there's a certain voice that I literally just can't handle it, and it's in a lot of training videos. And so I'll watch other videos, but I like it made me realize like I like listening to certain people when I work out. Like love John Wetmore. I love Brad Allen. Like those people, like when I'm listening to them while I'm working out or like while I'm on the treadmill, I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm getting excited. So you find your people too. I love the passion like Zach Moreno has in his calls. So like I listen to those. But then there's an actual like FFL podcast that Andrew Taylor used to record. So that's on Apple Music. So I listened to that one, like pretty much all of it. But those ones are really helpful. And then if you really like something, if you like mortgage protection, just go on FFL YouTube and just put mortgage protection and like trickle down, work with some stuff.
Big
Appreciate
time.
it.
Great question.
Of
Yeah.
course. And then what was the question?
Give us a nugget that we can take back and an
Oh,
action plan. One thing that we can
yeah.
do all, next time we'll see you, we'll be like, dude, I did that and it's changed my game like this.
Okay, so I would say number one, scheduling, be really, really strict with your schedule. Like schedule everything in your day, time block. I don't know if you guys have done that before, but it's extremely helpful and it allows for you to take breaks. So I have like, okay, so like my schedule just to the T, like there's never a time where I don't know what I'm doing, which just same thing as we like telling our clients, like they like to be told what to do. So do we. We like being on autopilot sometimes. Like, unfortunately, with social media, we are more often than not. But when you have the power to control your schedule and actually look at things like, okay, cool. So I have this coming next. And like drop off a policy, drop something off in the mail, drop a claim off. Like I have everything in my calendar, like from wake up, workout, eat breakfast, what I'm eating, everything. So that's extremely helpful. And I promise you, if you do that, your productivity is going to go up a lot because you just tell yourself you have to do that. It's not like, oh, I have 10 minutes of dial time. Like, no, I'm dialing for 10 minutes. I'm not sitting on my phone. That, and then the persistency, my email for sure is going to be huge. And I can send you guys that template, but those two things I think really help me stay organized and like dial into when I'm working.
No, well, this has been great. Alicia, if everybody wants to put in here an AA or put a thank you AA on there as a huge thanks, or if you guys want to record it and blow it up so that way, or do an Instagram post about it, I know that would give a lot of love back to Alicia, so then everybody can know about her, at least on our team. But
Guys,
it was a pleasure.
you.
Thanks for your guys' time, and I hope we kill it next week. We're gonna see double because of Alicia. And so thank you, Alicia, so much. And thanks for everyone for putting in the work this month. Y'all are killers. Couldn't be here without you guys.